guests and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to Ask the Experts radio show, proudly sponsored by board-certified family law attorney Tina Lewert of Lewert Law, LLC. Sit back for the next half hour as host Steve-O interviews top experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Steve-O offers such educational topics as community association law, family law, chiropractic care, employment law, healthcare law, and public insurance adjusting. Interviews by top experts in their field. And now, here's your host, Steve-O.
Hey, good evening, South Florida. I got to tell you, first of all, this is the Ask the Expert show. We're with you every Thursday night. We have 8 shows around the country, so I have to remember what day this is. We have 8 shows around the country, but we've been here in South Florida for 7 years. Can you believe that? And you know, we know that many of our listeners are homeowners, and you wrote and you said, can't you get somebody who can handle claims that aren't being paid by insurance companies? Well, that's called a public insurance adjuster. And I got to tell you, we were so lucky to find Mike Keeler with the Claim Squad Public Adjusters. And the reason why I say that is he's one of the few people that has been on both sides of the table. And every time we have him on, I'll get somebody telling me, that was really a good show. And we are so lucky to have Mike. And let me just introduce you. If you're tuning in for the first time, Mike's with us every month. Mike Keeler, the Claim Squad Public Adjusters. Good evening, Mike.
Steve-O, thank you for the introduction. I'm at a remote location.
I know. And you look
Florida.
good. You look fine. You look fine. Everything's fine.
Right.
You know what? I've never asked you, how did you get the name, the Claim Squad Public Adjusters?
You know, I think it was just a thought, something niche, because a lot of other people tend to put their name something in a public adjuster, Florida's best public adjuster, expert public adjusters, things of that nature. And I just wanted something from a marketing perspective that stood out a little bit more.
I love the name, Claim Squad. I love that name. And I got to tell you, I want everybody this evening to write, when we give you Mike's phone number, I want you to write this down, because in this business, when you're a homeowner, you should know, you never know when there's going to be an emergency. And I don't want you going, God, what was that public adjuster's name? And why didn't I write it down? So tonight, you're going to write it down tonight. But Mike, first tell everybody about your company.
Sure. So the Claim Squad Public Adjusters, we're based in South Florida, the East Coast. I work throughout the whole state, as I mentioned just a bit ago. I'm over on the Naples-Fort Myers area, where I actually have a couple meetings with plumbers and a couple homeowners on different claims. And I work from the Keys all the way up to the Panhandle. So throughout the entire state we work, and we represent, and you mentioned this, which is very important, we represent the homeowner. We have nothing to do with the insurance company.
Right. But you worked for the insurance company. You know how they work.
Years ago. Yeah, years ago. And it's funny because there's a lot more things being talked about now, Steve-O, with insurance. People are getting dropped. People are having a hard time finding insurance. People are faced with policies with limitations. Any home now that's 25 years or older, you're really faced with a dilemma of who's going to insure you and what your policy conditions are. People have no idea. People don't know. And the one thing that I tell them, the most valuable thing today, which is non-public adjuster related, but has to do with people's policies, when you get a quote from an agent, don't just call one agent. Call 3, 4, 5, 6 different agents. Call not only somebody that's in your local area, but call somebody who's in Orlando, one in Tampa, one in Jacksonville. The reason being is, unlike the old days, where you used to walk down the street in your little town and knew who your agent was,
Right.
nowadays everything's done over the internet. You have no idea who your agent is for the most part. So people, whenever I see people's policies, they have agents in Jacksonville and they live in Fort Myers, just like this new client I had earlier. They're agents in Jacksonville, Brightway, and they're located in Fort Myers. So it really doesn't matter, but you want to try and get different quotes from as many agents as possible.
God, I never thought of it that way. And I bet because aren't we, especially here in like South Florida in Broward County or Palm Beach, aren't we being limited by companies that handle health insurance?
Well, homeowners insurance, yeah, probably.
I said health. I meant
but
homeowners.
yeah, we definitely are. As a matter of fact, Citizens has now become the #1 insurer in South Florida. And that's a dangerous situation. As people may or may not know, Citizens is a state-run company. You have an automatic $10,000 water damage limit. So if you have a pipe that breaks, goes throughout your whole home, the most you can get is $10,000.
Wow.
It's on every policy. You can't change it with Citizens. Every roof claim goes into a lawsuit with Citizens, and they drag it out for a year or longer. So unfortunately, I hate to say it, but Citizens is the absolute worst company in Florida.
Can you
hands down.
Can you tell us some of the better companies?
Yeah, you know what? I actually, on my YouTube channel, which is the Claim Squad Public Adjusters, I actually have a few videos, some of them the best companies for roof claims, the worst company for roof claims, some of the best companies overall for homeowners claims, some of the worst companies. So I'll run off a short list of probably the worst.
And let's tell people how they can view your YouTube also. Let's give them that too.
Sure. So if they just put in the Claim Squad Public Adjusters, my YouTube channel will come up, and then you'll see 80 different videos on every subject, not only about different claims, but about homeowners insurance, who's good, the worst people in the claim process that you probably shouldn't talk to, that people trust. So let's talk about some of the worst homeowners insurance companies. So I talked about one, Citizens
right.
#1. #2 is a company called People's Trust in Deerfield Beach. They are not only, and I'll give a quick tidbit, they have limitations for water, and you also have to use their contractor for any repairs.
Okay.
So that's
why is that bad,
good.
Mike?
Well, it's bad because our contractors will repair all the damage that you have. They'll say some of this is not related. What we found out through various lawsuits that we had to file against them, and it's been a few years, is that a lot of their workers were felons in order to get cheap labor.
Wow.
So, listen, I'm all for rehabbing people at certain times, but there's a lot of people that should know that felons are in their house, ex-felons working in their house. So People's Trust is #2. There's a few other companies, which is Security First has a lot of limitations in their policy. UPC and American Integrity are about the 5. Another company I'll name that actually has one of the better policies, which is Universal. They have no limitations. However, their claim handling is absolutely atrocious. But let me put this in perspective. I would rather have a great policy and fight them by way of legal means if I have to,
right,
than to have a bad policy and not be able to do anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
So some of the better companies and easier companies to deal with when it comes to homeowners claims, FedNap, they're halfway decent. Homeowners Choice, a company underneath Homeowners Choice called TipTap. You'll find some of the Allstate, some of the Progressives aren't bad to deal with. However, they normally don't write wind insurance. It would only be for the interior. Some
That's
other
not good to
companies,
have down here
no, it's not. It's not.
when it comes to wind.
So then you end up with half of your house underneath the roof insured by Progressive or Allstate, and then the exterior insured by Citizen. So that's what we find a lot of times when we see those policies. Farmers of Florida, kind of the same situation. They're more up north. So when you talked about Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, we kind of get left out from a few other carriers that are better because they won't come down here too much. So that's probably 5 or 6 good ones as well that we
Good.
see.
Wow, I'm surprised at Farmers because they run so many ads on TV down here. That's surprising. Anyway,
Well,
so
how these insurance companies treat Florida claims is far different than they treat other claims in other states. You may have the same type of roof claim, and a lot of times you'll find out that they treat Florida residents differently than they will somebody who's in Tennessee.
Mike, what can someone do if their claim's denied?
Well, there's a bunch of things they can do. Number one is we have to find out, and what you want to find out is what's the estimate if the insurance company wrote an estimate. Okay? Whatever that estimate is, they may say it's still denied even though they wrote an estimate. So it depends on a few things. Number one, is it because of policy language that's not included in the policy? Or is it something that wasn't policy language and they say you didn't report it at a certain time frame? Or you said the wrong thing? These all can be correctable errors if you get the right person further. So if you try to handle it yourself and it got denied, that's when you want to seek the professional help of either a public adjuster or an attorney. If you try to do it yourself and you want to continue to try to do it yourself, you would have to really know what the reasons were, and there could be a variety of them, and then see if you can correct the reasons. So a lot of times, a perfect example is when there's a storm, people will give them not the date that the storm happened, but when they realize they found the damage to the roof or interior. Now, that will probably end up in a claim denied because they'll look at that date and say, wait a minute, March 31st, it was perfect. Steve-O, you made a claim. You were on the show talking with Mike Keeler, the public adjuster, but it was 85 degrees out and sunny. And then you say, oh, wait a minute. No, it was actually when your claim's denied, you try calling back and saying, well, that was from January when we had a storm. So there's that type of thing. And the insurance company people, the representatives who take that call, they don't question anything. They'll take it. They may question some things. One of the questions the company American Integrity does if it's a roof claim. So in Florida, we have a building code. This building code says that if 25% or more of your roof is damaged, you get the roof replaced. One of the questions when you call up and file a roof claim with American Integrity they ask you is, how much damage is to your roof? Pick one of the four, 0 to 25, 25 to 50%, 50 to 75%, 75 to 100%. Now, people can just randomly say, well, I don't think there's a lot, 0 to 25, right? That question's made on purpose. Now they can use that and the Florida Building Code, send somebody out and say, wait a minute, well, we found about 15% of your roof is damaged. Unfortunately, you even said when you called in your claim, there was 0 to 25% of your roof damage. So we're going to have to deny your claim because there's just enough damage to your roof. So
Mike,
now,
I want to just, before we go to break, tell everybody how you charge because people don't understand that.
so we charge a percentage. Our fees are mandated by the state, unlike
right.
attorneys who can charge pretty much whatever they want to. We are mandated by the state. The state sets our fees. So for hurricanes, a public adjuster can only charge 10%, up to 20% for anything else in Florida. Now, those fees are only paid when a public adjuster recovers any
There's
money.
no
to you.
upfront
Nothing
fee.
upfront. Nothing upfront. No
So
fee.
this is what I was getting at. You know, you could end up telling the insurance company something because they're very good at what they do. You could end up ruining your claim just by what you say to them. So it is so important, if I think if you have a claim, you call Mike Keeler. Let him handle it. Let him talk to the insurance company. You're not having to put up any upfront money at all. And some of these people, I think they can negotiate and they can save money. No, it doesn't work that way, does it, Mike?
No, not at all. Not at all. And after the break, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about some of the policies coming up in Florida, and also a tidbit when people are trying to deal directly with the insurance company, what they should and should not do.
Okay. We're give everybody your phone number, Mike.
It is 754-252-5438.
And your website?
It is www.theclaimsquad.com.
We're here with owner Mike Keeler. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we've got so much more to talk about. We'll be right back.
Stop trying to fight with your homeowner insurance company when you have accrued damages. Their job is to pay you the least amount possible. This is why you need the Claim Squad Public Adjusters, owned and operated by Mike Keeler. Mike is a public adjuster in Florida who helps families with their property damage insurance claims. When you work with Mike, you can take comfort knowing he will help prevent the insurance company from taking advantage of you. They help families whose homes are damaged by pipe breakage, roof leaks, storms, air condition leaks, fire, rain, tornadoes, hurricanes, and vandalism. Like Mike always says, he promises to help you in every possible way to get the best settlement for your property damage claim. He enjoys helping people fight the insurance companies because he disagrees with how they treat property owners. Mike is here to do things the right way and help you the best he can. Mike guarantees you he will be honest with you, understanding, and helpful. Call Claim Squad Public Insurance Adjusters today at 754-252-5438. We are back now with more of the Ask the Experts radio show, proudly sponsored by board-certified family law attorney Tina Lewert of Lewert Law LLC, covering South Florida.
And we're back. This is the Ask the Expert show. We're with you every Thursday night from 6 to 7 drive time. And we've actually got a question for you, Mike.
Ooh, I like that.
I have a question about a claim that was filed, I think back in 2019, that the insurance company partially paid like $800 on a $166,000 estimate. And it went to court, and the judge ordered appraisal. So appraisal happened. They couldn't agree. The umpire came. There's a figure. Meanwhile, can I say the insurance company name?
Sure, they're out of business.
St. John's went bankrupt. So now there's Slide's taking over, but they're not responsible for claims that were filed before they took over. And there's some FIGA or some government agency that's taken over that's going to be processing the claims. My question to you is there any time stipulation on how long this could take for them to be paying out these claims? Are you familiar with this process at all?
Very familiar. So I just had a client, my next door neighbor, who had a St. John's claim, and we actually got the check 2 weeks before they announced the state found them insolvent. I have one pending claim with a gentleman up in Jacksonville. So it normally takes 30 to 90 days for the files of St. John to go to the receiver. The receiver is the Department of Financial Services. The Department of Financial Services then sorts everything out, and they're going to send it to FIGA. FIGA is the Florida Insurance Guarantee Association. So all the companies that are registered in Florida have to pay, like a condo unit owner, okay, an assessment. So there are two companies that recently found insolvent over the last couple months: Avatar and St. John's. FIGA is what all the insurance companies have to kick into this pot in case a company becomes insolvent. Then they also have to pay an assessment. So what's going to happen within the next, from what I understand, because I contacted FIGA the other day for my client's claim, they are slowly getting in St. John's claims. When they do, and they process yours, it should be paid. But that could be now to, it's already been about 3 weeks, so anywhere from another week to another 2 months or so. And when it comes to people who have a pending claim, since yours has already been decided by the appraisal, it should be pretty easy. It's just a matter of them getting through the paperwork. If you have a pending claim with St. John's or Avatar, that's not in litigation. They do assign it to kind of an independent adjuster who will then try to work with you on settling the claim without it having to go to litigation.
It's pretty much a pending claim. However, the attorney that we hired is disputing or going through getting her fees paid through the opposing counsel. I suppose that's the opposing counsel with St. John's. So, yes, we had an amount through the umpire, and I know that the attorney filed fees through the courts to get their fees back, but is this going to drag this process out that our attorney and St. John's attorney haven't agreed on my attorney's fees, who we did file a suit, and it's the understanding that the insurance company has to pay their fees because we filed lawsuit.
So it's all going to depend on how the attorney set it up and how they're moving forward with your claim. If they're saying that the fees need to be involved with it, that could take a little bit longer because they may have to agree on what those fees are. What your attorney probably should do is go directly to FIGA for the amount that's owed to you. If they wanted to go that route, I'm sure they can do it. I think there's also some concerns on whether or not the attorneys get fees now because of this shift. So I've heard from another attorney that years ago a situation happened when they went through FIGA and they were left out a few $100,000 in fees by FIGA. Now, I don't know if the client got paid. I would imagine so. But the attorneys, small possibility, they could be left out in the cold and not be paid.
And at that point, would the insured be responsible for paying those attorney fees? Or again, that's according to how you set things up. We were told we wouldn't be responsible for them, that the insurance company would.
If it's a contingent fee contract, they couldn't hold you responsible for that unless there was some language that subverted that, which I doubt, because then it's not a contingent fee contract. It's just bad luck. But, I think based on the story that I heard from this attorney, I think that's a small percentage of why he didn't get paid. But from what I've heard from other attorneys, everybody does get pretty much paid, and it happens pretty fast. They want to get everything paid and off the books. FIGA does. They don't want this lingering around. Where it could change is the fact that there's an insurance company that's taken over, and they're not really an insurance company, but has taken over some of their claims, the policy premiums and everything else.
Okay. So we've only got about 2 or 3 minutes, but Mike, you know what? I got to tell you, I think I've told you this before, that we have other claims adjusters in other cities that are experts, but I got to tell you, people can really tell you know what you're doing, and they should feel really comfortable with you. And like we were talking about before, I don't know why somebody wouldn't just contact a public claims adjuster like you and let you just handle it.
Well, Steve, I think a lot of people do call, but I think a lot of people don't get the right public adjuster. You can call for an attorney and not get the right attorney. You
Right.
can call and go to your neighborhood dentist and not get the right dentist you don't feel comfortable with. So once that happens, sometimes people become a little gun shy and then they shy away from the whole industry or profession overall. And I'm not saying public adjusters, I'm saying for a lot of different things. One client I currently represent refused to go back to an attorney, even when we're having our attorneys work with me on his case. He was very apprehensive because he had been burned before. So, same thing with any profession, Steve.
Please write this number down. And we talked about at the beginning of the show. You never know when you're going to have a home emergency where you're going to have to file a claim. Write this number down. Mike, give everybody your phone number.
Sure, Steve. 754-252-5438.
Name of the company is the Claim Squad Public Adjusters. Mike will be back with us next month, and you know how to contact me. If you didn't have a pencil in the car, I'll be more than happy to give you Mike's number at 754-252-5438. Mike, thank you so much. We will see you again next month. We're going to go to break now. When we come back, we've got our dental implant show. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks so much, Steve. See you next month.
For sure.